twist from Shinsuke to Cody.
620 Rip City Radio, KPOJ, Portland, and iHeart Radio Station.
Hey there, Rip City. The Blazers go into Indy. Indy, they get the win. And they should not be apologizing. They should not be looking for forgiveness. Because they walloped the Pacers at home, man. They took care of business. What a game. Absolutely. What a game for the Blazers, picking up the 114-110 win over the Indiana Pacers. And you are here. It is the fifth quarter. I am your host, Chris Burkhardt, filling in for Chad Dewey. Why, you ask? Because you heard him on the post-game show there, filling in for Mike Lynch. So now I'm filling in for him. It's just, a nice little round table thing here. Everyone just move one seat to the right, and everything will be taken care of. But, boy, that was a good win. That was a good win for the Blazers. They needed that one. And Indy's a good team. Indy's a heck of a good team. So Portland, it's not like they walked in, faced the worst team in the league, got a win, everything was good. No, they got a win over a very good Indianapolis team. And they did it again. I think it was the defense that did it, man. The offense was humming for large chunks of the game, but they made the defensive stops when they needed to. And that was absolutely wonderful. Now, if you're listening right now in your car or in your living room on the iHeartRadio music app, maybe you don't know, grab your phone, grab your computer, head on over to YouTube, type in Rip City Radio, and our YouTube page will pop up. And the cool part about that is if you go over there, we are streaming this show live, just like every show now. Rip City Mornings, Rip City Drive, Courtside Monday with myself. Of course, I got to find a way, Shacker, he's listening. Got to find a way to actually get Courtside streaming. I got to get you your graphics and stuff because it just gets lumped into the Rip City Drive stream. So on our YouTube page, it doesn't have any streams of me. Come on. I'm looking over off to the camera because I'm FaceTiming him. That's how we're communicating. And technology, baby, it's a wonderful thing. Now, go over there, join the chat, and then you can talk to me all night long. Or you can call 503-248-0620. Give me your thoughts on this victory for your Portland Trailblazers. And if you were listening in the pregame show, what did I say were my keys to the game? One of them was force the turnovers, right? Portland, one of the top teams in the league in steals. Indiana, one of the top teams in the league in assists. Now, Portland was held below their average for the season in steals, but guess what? Indiana, they play in Indianapolis, was held below their season average for assists, and a lot of that was the Blazers' defense, right? So they didn't get the big high number of steals, but they did get the hands in the passing lanes like we had talked about. They did force the issue. And one thing, as Lamar pointed out on the broadcast too, they forced the Pacers into a lot of iso ball situations, which is not their strength. They are predicated on moving the ball around as much as they can. And the Blazers did their best to make sure that couldn't happen. So good job there defensively. Now, also, the one thing I wanted to see happened in this one. And I said for the Blazers to have their best chance, what I want to see happen is I want to see DeAndre Ayton actually get some shots, right? Make him a more focal point of the offense. Because you look at the game against Milwaukee, he had just 6 field goal attempts, which I was like, that is way too low for a guy who made 5 of those 6. That's a pretty darn good percentage. Get him more involved. So what did the Blazers do tonight? They got him more involved. And no, it's not like they listen to me. I really hope Chauncey's not listening to me. I get some good thoughts every once in a while, but I'm not a basketball coach. And if he is listening to me, we got a problem. But the point is, how many shot attempts did DeAndre Ayton have tonight? 13. How many did he make? 9. High percentage right there. Ended the day with 22 points and 13 rebounds. And if you're a Blazer fan, you look at that and you're like, yeah, I'll take that from DeAndre Ayton every single night. Please sign me up. And the only thing keeping him from having these 22-point nights is finding shots for him. Because guess what? It's hard to have 22 points when you're only getting 5 shot attempts or 6 shot attempts. Got to get the ball in your hands. Got to get some shots up. So good on the Blazers for getting him shots up tonight. Love to see it. Now, one other thing that was my key to the game. I didn't say it was a key to victory. It was just something I wanted to see. And that was Scoot Henderson getting more involved. Feel like early on, he is still just like playing just like a little timid, right? Not playing with like the same explosion that it seemed like he was playing with when he was with the G League Ignite. His game is that attacking style game. That's why people compared him coming into this thing a Ja Morant type, Derrick Rose type. He reminds me a lot of a young Russell Westbrook, right? Super explosive, gets around the picks, attacks the rim. He's going to be able to get those passes off too. He's probably not going to have a ton of 50-point games like Dame, but he's going to have a lot of 20-point, 10 assists, 25-point, 11 assist type games. That's what you want, right? Want to get him more involved. Now, he did tie his season high with 13 points, but I said I wanted to see him get 30 minutes. I wanted to see him get out there, get a run. He only got 22. And when they do use him, I just don't feel like they're using him to his strengths. And maybe it's because they're trying to get him better at certain aspects of his game. Maybe it's because they're trying to get him to play off the ball just a little bit more, find ways to get more 3-point shots in rhythm. He was 2 for 3 tonight, which, again, nice to see. But where's this attacking Scoot that we were sold? That's the Scoot I want to see. And I just don't know if we've had a chance to see it yet. So that one I would like to see come out. But I got 2 of my 3 wishes here. Defense looked good. Ayton got the shots he needed. That's 2 of my 3. Henderson looked good. Shot 40% from the field. Had his 13 points. I just want to see him do more. But it is hard to get him off of the floor. Get him on. When Malcolm Brogdon is playing so well. Brogdon, 24 points. 7 assists. Great game. And that clutch bucket there with, 30 seconds left? Like that. Make it a 4-point game. Pacers don't look back. Of course, there were some situations like there has been all the time lately, right? It's like, here we go. Late game and, turnover. That's weird. Matisse Thybulle, but throw it behind the back right to a Pacer. What are you thinking? Then he has the inbound pass where he just DeAndre Ayton has no room, and he just throws it right to the defender. It's like you're inbounding that pass, right? Like, why are you don't like try to streamline it there. Loft it. If I'm DeAndre Ayton right here, and I got a defender on my hip in between you and me, throw it over my back shoulder like a receiver. So I got to take a couple steps back to grab it. And my defender can't get it. Nope, he just kind of nice little threw it in there. Got the turnover. Pacers had life, but again, Blazers did what they needed to do late. Now again, I said get over on YouTube. Get on the YouTube stream. Get on the comments. Unfortunately, Michael says the stream is stopping now and then. Check your internet, my man. Check those Wi-Fis. Check that hard line if you're on a hard line. I got the stream going. It's smooth sailing. I promise you that. Chris, he says, good win against a quality team in their house. However, must be a league memo to the refs to not rule in our favor on coaches' challenges. That coaches' challenge was an interesting one. That's another night where the Blazers get a coaching challenge that goes against them. And for those of you not watching it or had missed it, that Shaden Sharp dunk, right? It was called a foul, then it was challenged. And yeah, apparently tugging on the jersey for the player in the air no longer warrants a foul. And again, if you were listening to the TV broadcast, Lamar was like, I usually don't do this, but I'm about to take my headset off and go ask the ref, like, why was that the call? Because that's just weird. So, yeah, you're right. But also, some love for Jeremy Grant. Grant has turned into a really good player. Not sure we should trade him. Dude is balling. Now, Chris, I have been on this one for a minute. I have been on this since the minute he was signed. I don't think there is a huge incentive to trade him. I don't. I don't believe that. Do they trade him eventually? Maybe. I just don't think there is a huge incentive to get him out now. You need that contract because you have so many small contracts on your roster with all these rookie deals, right? So you got to get up to your salary floor. That money comes in handy. Secondly, I contend that Sharp, Scoot, Ant, those are your three guards you're playing with right now, and you may try to find a way to make that three-guard system work. In the long run, whether that's Sharp coming off the bench or Ant coming off the bench or Sharp playing the three, I don't know. But they're going to try to find a way to make that three work. And if that clicks, say they start to play really well at the end of this year and next season they are really close. So they are a play-in team next year, okay? And now you're looking at Jeremy Grant, still got 3 years on the deal. The thing the team needs when they're starting to click is they need that wing that they can rely on to go out there and make his shots. Take care of business. For the longest time, you need a small forward or a power forward, someone who can get some score, take a little bit of the scoring load, who can do that. Jeremy Grant's that guy. If you just trade him just to trade him, then you're right back in the market of needing that guy again. So I don't think there is an incentive to absolutely have to trade him now. There's a lot of things that can play out positively or negatively for the current roster. And he is an asset that I think is going to be valuable when they decide to move on, if they do. I just don't think there's a mass incentive to trade him now. I also think Malcolm is an interesting prospect because when they got him, I was like, yeah, he's going to be gone instantly. Okay, realistically, he's probably going to be gone closer to the trade line because they got to wait the 60 days for that moratorium period so he can be aggregated, and it makes trading him just a little bit easier. But we'll see where they go because everybody always makes this argument that rookies need that vet, the guy to show them the ropes, the guy to be a leader and show them what it means to be. And I have always argued that that is overblown until I saw Malcolm Brogdon. Because this guy is a true vet type that comes in here and is leading by example and is showing these guys what to do and is not worried about wins or losses or his paycheck or anything. He just wants to go play ball. He is this team's Ed Davis, right? Ed Davis was that type of vet. So Malcolm Brogdon, there might be an incentive for the front office to keep him around. However, once comes trade deadline time, he's going to get calls on calls on calls, and so is Jeremy Grant. And that's why I am, kind of glad I'm not Joe Cronin. I can just pick apart and talk about rumors and what I would do and what could happen rather than have to take those phone calls. But I'm with you. Jeremy Grant's looking good. Malcolm Brogdon's looking good. Malcolm Brogdon is looking good. Say it again. We'll see. I just don't see the incentive to have to trade him now. What other comments we got? Chris says, well said. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Not everybody agrees, but thank you for thinking it was. Maybe we pull up some more G League players. Mo Harkless. I don't think Mo Harkless wears a Blazer uniform. And again, Mo Harkless did sign with the G League team this week, as it was yesterday. I don't think he wears a uniform, but you can't tell me if Blazer fans would not be hyped if there was a situation where they needed someone and Mo Harkless gets brought up from the G League for a few. Oh my gosh, what a crazy time that would be. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like it. I liked Mo. I do wish the Blazers had a better starting lineup, but I don't wish that he was on a different team. He fits very well into what that team was trying to do. Gave the team a lot too. It's not just James and CJ. You got to thank Mo and Chief for that run in 2019 as well. All right, going to take a break here on the fifth quarter. When we come back, I'm going to give you my scoreboard report. We're going to go around the league, see how some of the other teams did who also had those early games. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you can hear it on the stream. I don't know if Shacker's breaking rules, but Metallica in my ears, wonderful. Thank you, Shacker. Thank you. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be back right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Your Scoreboard Report, powered by Columbia Heating and Cooling, raising your expectations of comfort.
All right, welcome back into the fifth quarter. And it's time to take a look around the league, see what's going down. We got 8 minutes and 40 seconds left in the third quarter. The Pelicans have the 1-point lead over the Utah Jazz. Jonas Valanciunas leading the way, 12 points, 9 rebounds for the Pelicans. Yet to be played tonight, 7:30. Nuggets taking on the Clips. Gotta love these 4 o'clock games for the Blazers. When you're like, oh man, Blazers, you're so used to being the last game of the night when you're a Blazer fan, right? So you look at the schedule and like, oh, there's games still going on with like more than a quarter to play. There's one that hasn't even tipped off yet. Gotta like these early tips. All the other games on the schedule, though, are final. The Wizards won the battle of the two-win teams, 126-107 over the Detroit Pistons. Kyle Kuzma, 32 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. Cade Cunningham leading the Pistons with 26 points and 7 assists. Lakers, they got walloped. I think I read on Twitter, like, what, the fourth largest margin of defeat for the Lakers. They were in Philly. They dropped that one 138-94. Ouch. Anthony Davis, 17 points and 11 rebounds. Joel Embiid leading the 76ers, 30 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists. And as you watched on TV or listened to on the radio, your Portland Trailblazers went into Indiana and beat the Pacers 114-110. Jeremy Grant led the way, 34 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 block shots for the Blazers. Tyrese Halliburton, he put on a show, 33 points and 9 assists, but it was not enough for the home team in Indiana. And that is your NBA scoreboard report. I would give an NFL scoreboard report, but I know my producer over here is either watching it on tape delay or hasn't recorded and doesn't want to hear any of that. So no NFL scoreboard reports. He's turning the camera. You can probably see it on the YouTube stream. He's watching the Colts game. Yep, he always has stuff recorded and is watching and catching up. He watches more football than just about anybody I know. It's incredible. And you know what I love about the fifth quarter, is that sometimes we just go off the rails, right? And we have conversations that just don't pertain to anything. Remember last year when Kilauea was going off and Mauna Kea was going off, and we had like an entire fifth quarter that we just started talking about volcanoes on the island of Hawaii. Because I'm an islander, right? That was a fun night. Right now, the chat has just gone into Metallica land. Chris, not only does he share my name, he shares my affection for Papa Het and Kirk Hammett and company, and he likes the Metallica guys as well. So if you want to jump on the chat, you don't even have to talk about the Blazers. YouTube.com, type in Rip City Radio, pop it up, get in the chat, talk about anything, we'll have some fun. But if you want to talk the hierarchy of Metallica songs, we can do it. Shacker was over here playing Unforgiven for our radio audience. Chris popped in that he likes to listen to Orion. Gives him a little jolt. It's a good one. Big fan of Call of Cthulhu as well. They're instrumentals. They're money. Speaking of money, you know who was money tonight? Jeremy Flippin' Grant. Now, we just went on a little bit of a mini rant in the first segment about Jeremy Grant, about how I don't know if there's a huge incentive to trade him. They might, of course. Anything can happen, right? Still seems probably likely in the long run, but I do think that there's options here. There's avenues, multiverses, if you will, for all you Marvel fans. I don't know which one they're going to go through yet. But one of them could involve him keeping him all 5 years. He's playing so well right now. Tonight against the Pacers, 12 of 18 shooting, 3 of 3 from deep, 7 of 7 from the line, 34 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 block shots. Clutch buckets down the stretch. I mean, they, in large part, won this game because of the performance of Jeremy Grant. Love to see it. You love to see it. He absolutely went ham. When he's on, he's on. So I can't wait to see what happens when you get Ant back and you get another shooter and a Scoot and Shea develop. I can't, dude. if Shea develops like we all want him to, and he's a legit 20-point a night guy every single night, again, right now the shot's just struggling. He's gassed. You could tell. He did almost have a dunk that absolutely exploded the roof of the whatever you want to call it this year field house. I only say that because it changes its name like all the time. But that dunk, if he would have hit that, as I tweeted out, the fans in Indiana would have been able to hear the roar all the way from Portland. Like Portland roar would have crossed multiple states and they would have heard it there because that dunk was insane. But the shot's not falling for him. But if he gets to where we all want him to be and he scored 20 points a night and Scoot is getting his 20 points and he's dishing his assists and you still got Jeremy Grant, you're not hurting. You might like that, in fact, right? Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Scoot, and Shea, the way we want them. Oh, my. Things could be nice in the long run. It's a slow build, but it could be nice. All right, if you want to jump in and talk to me on the show, you know what to do. 503-248-0620. Come on, give us your thoughts about how this one went down. Your thoughts on anything. If you want to just call in and tell me what your favorite Metallica song is, do it. I don't care. We'll have fun. Give us something to talk about. Makes my producer smile. He's like, yeah, I'll talk Metallica. He wants to do that. Chris says, Maxey is the truth. Yeah, Tyrese Maxey's pretty good. He's pretty good. Got another commenter. Grant is playing like an all-star right now. He is. That's exactly how he started last year, too, right? Started playing at that all-star level. Like, he was looking good. He was looking like the second best player on the team for a minute. And he's playing good right now. Arguably better. Like, Lamar talked about on the broadcast about how he's like really getting into that leadership role. And I think that's interesting, given the circumstances, right? Because everyone's always talked about Grant as not being that guy. Like he doesn't have to be the number one option on the team. And maybe he doesn't have to scoring wise, but I do think he likes the fact that he's got this young team with some continuity in the fact, he knows Ant, he knows Matisse, he knows Jabari, been with Coach Billups now. But he gets to be the leader in that locker room. Like all those young guys come and look up to him. I think he likes that. Another guy who I think likes that's DeAndre Ayton, right? DeAndre Ayton, very vocal and seems to be loving his time here. Again, change of scenery helps. I like these guys who want to come be leaders and help out the young kids and leads to fun basketball. And at least they won tonight, right? Because after that debacle in Milwaukee, dropping that 26-point lead, you needed this one. It looked hairy in the end, but again, it was the leaders. It was guys like DeAndre and Jeremy who helped win that game. Bricks and Joysticks wants to talk Megadeth. What do you want to talk about? Talk it. Play it. Look, now Shacker's just having fun. He's like, I'm just going to start playing music. He's going to start queuing me up to get out on breaks just so he can play music. That's what I would do. Let's talk Megadeth. We can talk Megadeth when we get back. What's your favorite Megadeth song? Put it in the comments. I'll have to think about that for a second. I haven't listened to enough Megadeth. Being such a Metallica fan, you feel like you feel dirty when you listen to too much Megadeth, right? Skin of my teeth is pretty good, though. All right, got to take a break. When we return, we're going to hear What's the Scoot? Get you caught up on Scoot Henderson. We're going to hear from Coach Billups, hear what he had to say after this game. Again, Blazers pick up the 114-110 victory in Indiana over the Pacers. Chris Burkhardt here on the fifth quarter on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. tonight here on the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here, filling in for Chad Doing. My man, he is filling in for Mike Lynch, doing the pre and post game show right now. So, like I said, everyone moves over a seat, right? It's like Lynch, Chad, Burkhardt. So Lynch moved over to the off day. Chad moved over to the pregame. I moved over to the game day in fifth quarter. Shacker moved over to the producer chair. It's just a little click, click, click. Everyone moves. Teamwork makes the dream work. Something like that. You guys can follow me on Twitter or X, whatever the heck you want to call it, at Chris J. Burkhardt. We'll get the conversation going over there. Send me all your questions and comments. You can call in right now if you'd like, 503-248-0620. And you can jump in on the chat, youtube.com, Rip City Radio, where everybody, here's the deal. Sometimes you're stubborn and you're like, hey, this is the way it has to be. And then people just do things and people keep telling you got to change it. And that a good person learns and listens. So I'm going to learn and listen because everyone is saying that the filler music today is much better than the elevator music that Burkhardt plays when he's producing the show. And I just go with the elevator music because it's simple. I made the playlist last season when we were starting the stream for the very first time, and everything was ran from my computer, and I just needed stuff that was copyright free, so I grabbed the first batch of copyright free stuff I could find, and it was all elevator music. Now, Shacker over here, he's a metalhead, so he's going to take the time to find his metal. See, here, there it is. Like, does the person who made this even have a name? Was it AI generated? Who knows? But people are loving Shacker's fill-in music. Brendan's got some pretty good fill-in music. Mine, it sounds like you walked into the Empire State Building and went to go to the 70th floor. And it took all of 2.5 minutes to get there. So I'll work on that, guys. I promise. I promise. I'll work on it. I love it. Oh, thank you, Chris. He says he gets the copyright rules. I do a good job. I do my best. But thank you. Now we are here on the fifth quarter, and hey, I said we're going to talk basketball. We don't have to talk just basketball though. Whatever you guys want to talk about, hit me up in the chat. Hit us up on the phones, 503-248-0620. Not a lot of people calling in. Too many people watching Monday Night Raw, trying to see the return of CM Punk. We'll see what happens. Megadeth conversation was going down. Lovers of Hangar 18. That's right. Rest in Peace. That was a masterpiece. Holy Wars is Bricks and Joysticks' favorite song. I'm rolling with Sweating Bullets. I don't know enough. I don't listen to Megadeth full on though. Like I know their popular stuff. I don't know if I take the time or have taken the time to just listen to an album front to back like I do Metallica because I'm just a Metallica head. Like my one of my best friends picks on me because I get hyped. I'm like, dude, Metallica, they released a new album. You got to hear it. And I'd send him a song. He's like, yeah, it's trash. I'm like, yeah, well, you don't like anything past Master of Puppets. Knock it off. Just because you think that they died with Load and Reload doesn't mean that the stuff they put out now is bad. It's good, I promise. If it was any other band, you'd be like, dude, this new band that just put out this album, 72 Seasons, you got to hear it. They're the next big thing, dude. They're the next big thing. But Metallica does it, and you're like, yeah, that's trash. All right, the phones. Someone finally called in. Friend of the show, longtime listener, longtime caller, the man, Victor in Turkey on line one. Victor, welcome into the fifth quarter. The floor is yours.
Hi, Chris. Nice talking to you. Thank you very much.
Yep.
I'm so happy about this win. It's kind of a makeup for the last game last night. That they should have won that game. Believe me, that was brutal. As Chad said or you said, because they had that game in their hand, and for some reason, I think maybe you might say that was a lack of confidence that in their head, that no, we cannot beat the champion team. It was a kind of a mental, decrement in the in the middle of third quarter. I think it was a mental thing, kind of mental attitude towards that. But That was my idea, But this time today, they make it up for that loss. But they are on the roll, and as you said, I'm so happy about the Jeremy Grant. I mean, he's doing great. I mean, I'm so happy about him. It's just fantastic. But I was going to tell you, Chris, in the past few days or couple of weeks that Jeremy is doing so great, the other media, the other network or sport media, they are trying to steal the Jeremy and Grant like they did it with Damian Lillard. That I'm going to tell you about that. They are talking so well. There are how the Blazers they can upgrade trading Jeremy Grant. I was laughing. I was just laughing loud. I said, "What are you talking about?" I mean, they already took the Damian Lillard. I sent a text to Chad today about the White, the Damian Lillard. They lost the Damian Lillard for nothing. I sent the email to the Chad. I was going to send the email to you because there was a Blazer project, Rip City project analysis. I don't know who wrote that. It was in the if you go to the Blazer News, Blazer News, then you see that that website is by Rip City project. I don't know who wrote that, but what I'm saying in that media, they said the same thing I was telling before the Mo Williams got hurt, broke his leg. Before that, I called. I don't know, maybe you remember that. 3 weeks ago, I called in. I said that wasn't a good idea to get to give Damian Lillard, and what we got in return. I don't know. Besides the Mo Williams, we got maybe another piece or two. I don't remember, but the Mo Williams, Rob Williams, was the main core of that trade of the Damian Lillard, and then we got the True Holiday, and we give it right back to the Celtics. And right now, the Celtics website, they're saying, "Thank you, Portland. Thank you. We just got what we needed for championship." So what I'm saying, if the Blazers wants to help the other team to win the championship, is okay with them, is okay, but it's not okay with me because I'm a competitor. I am a, I like revenge. Not revenge like go and shoot somebody, but if you're a real competitor, you want to hurt somebody else. You don't want to. What I'm saying, unless you get a really good deal, I mean, if you give True Holiday and get really like Marcus Smart, or Jay Allen or something in the Celtics, Jay Allen or Marcus Smart, that would be a good trade, but not the injured Rob Williams. And after he broke his legs, then I said before that, I said to Chad, that's not a really good trade to give the best point guard, best point guards and get Rob Williams. And then anyways, right now they have to, and that website by the Rip City, I was gonna text you that, but I don't have your text number. By the Rip City project, if you Google it, it says 3 moves, off-season move that Blazer would regret. That's in the Blazer News. So that was even before that. I before even all this happened, I told Chad. I said that wasn't a good move, and Chad said no. Chad said no. Rob Williams, a great player, so on and so forth. But
well, hey, I got to jump in here, Victor. I got to tell you, the move was a good move. Like, hindsight's always 2020, right? Always 2020. It's clearer than 2020. Robert Williams was a good trade. Robert Williams is an all-NBA defender, right? Now, injury issues, potentially a thing. Obviously, that was a risk that they took, and now it's backfired, but he's good. He's a really good center. And they were able to get Malcolm Brogdon, who is paying off in a very big way for this team. Maybe not in the full-on wins and losses, but he's helping, and they're probably going to end up finding a way to flip him to get more assets. Maybe they flip Jeremy Grant to get assets. I get that you're a competitor, my man. We all are. Nobody likes losing, right? Played sports all my life. I didn't say, hey, Mom, sign me up for football because I watched that 49er game last week and the team that they beat, I just want to know what it's like to lose all the time. Like I want to know what that's like. No one signs up to lose. Everybody wants to win. But at some point, the chips turn on you and you have to go into build mode. And you have to flip it. And that's what the Blazers are doing. So, yeah, I get, for you being a competitor, you don't like the fact that they went and made the Celtics better. But who cares? Who cares if they made the Celtics better or the 76ers better or the Bucks better or the Nuggets better if they pull a trade with them? Because it doesn't matter what trade you were doing. The Blazers weren't going to be in title contention this season, right? We all said that the minute the Dame trade happened. And even if Dame were here, they probably still wouldn't be. Not with the way the offseason went. Because Dame, Scoot, Ant, and Sharp wasn't going to be a championship team. So sometimes you got to make moves, and they hurt. And sometimes other teams get better for what they want. But you also get better for what you want because you got nice picks. You got tradable assets. Robert Williams might end up being a Blazer forever just because I don't know what the trade market is for the injured big. But you mentioned names like, Jared Allen or Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart isn't the difference between this team being a play-in team and a championship team. Not in the least. With everything this team has done, you think they should go trade for another small guard? He was the NBA's Defensive Player of the Year, which was a joke. Not on him. It was a joke that the first guard to win it in forever was Marcus Smart and not Drew Holiday, despite the fact Drew Holiday has been the best defensive guard in the league for a very long time. Marcus Smart deserved it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, Drew Holiday, if you're going to give it to a guard for the first time since Peyton, I believe it was, it should go to Drew. But he wasn't going to be the difference. Jared Allen wasn't going to be the difference. And you want Jared Allen, but you ended up getting the version of Jared Allen that you wanted as a team. That's DeAndre Ayton. He's your center now. He's your center of the future. So you went and got that piece. You're not going to go play Jared Allen and DeAndre Ayton together right now. So that wouldn't have worked. Sometimes you have to move on as much as you like them. As much as you like Dame, sometimes you just have to move on. It was like the years before that when you let go of Stotts. A lot of people like Terry, but sometimes you just gotta cut bait. You gotta move on because it's just time. It's just time, and that's what that is. The Blazers aren't making moves right now. I promise you, solely to make other teams better. Why they just get worse and enjoy it. They are going into an era that we as fans haven't experienced that often. And that is, who's the face of our franchise? A rebuild? What is a rebuild? What are we doing here? Oh, we might not win 20 games. What? That feels weird. If you feel uncomfortable right now as a fan, there's reason. Because the Blazers are doing something very uncomfortable. Something we're not used to. We got to see it play out. I like Scoot. I like Shea. I like some of the development. We'll continue to argue if Chauncey is the right or wrong guy until the cows come home. But again, sometimes you just got to cut bait, Victor. And that just is what it is. If the Celtics got better, so be it. You needed those young players. You needed Robert Williams. You needed Malcolm, who you might be able to flip. You needed the picks that you got. You're sitting in a spot right now with the way the Warriors are playing and yourself that you might have 2 lottery picks again going in to next year's draft. That's a good spot to be if you're the youngest team in the league and you're trying to rebuild again and hope for something special. All right, got to take a quick break here. When we return, we're going to hear What's the Scoot? Give you a quick Scoot Henderson update. Listen to Chauncey Billups. And as my wife loves when I say, we're going to put a bow on this one and send you guys home for the night. Chris Burkhardt here.
217 or visit www.officefurniturereborn.com.
Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here filling in for Chad Doing. It is now time for What's the Scoot? And what is the Scoot? The Scoot is, for 2 games in a row now, the 3rd overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft has scored and then matched his career highs in points. 13 points tonight, 13 points last night. And you may, scoff at that and be like, that's not very many points. Back in my day, they used to score 50 like it was going out of style. That Wilt guy scored 100. It was amazing. Yeah, well, the fact that this guy sat out for a little bit and is still trying to find himself, I think 13's all right. Hopefully, it gets higher. I want to see maybe give me 15 against Cleveland, right? Then a game after that. I just want to get a score where the first number is a 2, and it's not because he only scored 2 points. It's a double-digit number, but the first one's a 2. That's what I want. Give me 20, okay? Give me at least 20. The first time he drops a 20 and 10, I'm going to be excited. Absolutely excited. I want to see it, and I think he has it in him. But I do think that, again, I said this during the pregame show, Blazers need to play him to his strengths. Don't force him to do other things. Just let him go be Scoot, man. And I think they're not letting him do enough of that right now. I don't know if it's them or him just being a little timid, but just see it. And Rachel, I agree. Symphony number 5 is pretty awesome. All right, let's head to Indiana and listen to Coach Billups following the Blazers win over the Pacers.
DA, he was a force the entire game. He was a force. And then our other guys they just chipped in and played well. Everybody did. But I was so happy for us defensively, and what we did today. I'll be honest, there's not a lot of teams in the league that can do what we did today, coming off of such an emotional loss last night, being up 26 and them coming back and winning that game. Last night, and then coming here against a team like this. I'm just so proud of our dudes, man. I'm so proud of them.
You mentioned their offense, and we talked about it before. They like to get out and run, push the pace, and they did that in the first quarter. It felt like it was a bit of a tennis match, but then it seems though you said we're not going to let them dictate their speed, the pace they like to play. Was that something that you were focusing on at the first?
Well, it was, and we play a physical brand defensively. We want to get up and pick up and pressure you, and we want you to know that we're going to be there the whole time. It starts with Tumani, on the ball at the start of the game. But, we felt like that. If we let them just rip and run and play the way that they want to play, they can score 150 on you, and that's no exaggeration. They can drop 150 on you. So we didn't want to be that team, and we're trying to establish ourselves as a really good defensive team. And I thought today was a really important step.
Up 2 with under 10. What was the plan? Was it to get it to Malcolm? And how much, I guess, you feel so great about him taking that last shot I have to say?
Well, there's not a lot of guys on our team, and we all know that have been in that moment a ton. Malcolm has, Jeremy has, with the ball in their hands. And so, for us, you get it to a guy who's been in that moment that if he gets fouled, he can make the free throws, and if not, he can go make the shot for you. So we did that. We're successful, and Malcolm did a great job of using his body and his strength to get where he needed to be to make that shot. Good.
All right, there you have it. That was Coach Billups there in Indy, and the chat's going off the rails, all right, because good old Colby Jack, good flavor of cheese, asking people who's cuter, Chad or me. What? Oh, man, YouTube, fifth quarter after dark. It is something else. All right, if you want to join the chat, 503-248-0620 on the phones, YouTube at Rip City Radio on the chat there. And then let's go out to the phones where Tim in Milwaukee wants to get on because he wants to disagree with me. People always like to disagree with me. I thought I was an agreeable guy, but I guess not. Tim, the floor is yours.
What is today? It's Monday the 27th, and we need to mark down this day in fifth quarter history. I usually call into the fifth quarter and sometimes the afternoon program, and my modus operandi is to talk about poop or flatulence or players expressing despair in their career or their personal lives. I remember back
Spaghetti's for dinner, right?
5 years ago. I remember back 5 years ago, one of my very first phone calls was about Lamar Odom lying helplessly, I think clinically deceased on the floor of a Las Vegas brothel, which sort of set the tone for for what was to be in my fifth quarter ongoing pursuit of excellence. So, but tonight, mark the date, I have a Blazer take about NBA basketball, which I think is both thoughtful and thought-provoking. Here it is. The Grant and Brogdon, through the history of me watching NBA basketball, seem to be displaying behavior that would be indicative of trying to woo potential suitors in the NBA at the trade deadline. In other words, these guys are playing their level best so that when the trade deadline is approaching, desirable teams will suit them. And I think that it's best to trade them now while they have some value in that respect, or at least demonstrating some value. And also for the part of our growth trajectory, if hypothetically this team does build into a contender with through aggregating draft picks and whatnot, and we're building younger, these guys are kind of being out of that window, and they're going to present a roadblock both financially and I think on the floor as well, because these guys are going to be demanding the ball. I can't, in all honesty, just see them 3 to 4 years down the road for potential contenders just being happy to be mentors. And these guys are in a winning window now. They're both actually, I can't see anybody not wanting Malcolm Brogdon, at least as a top tier six man, and Grant is a starter on just about any team in the league. So I'd love your thoughts on that.
Yeah, Tim, thanks for the call and thanks for the thought. And yeah, it's interesting because like you said, I mean, they're in a win now mode. Malcolm Brogdon's 30 years old and he's playing really good basketball. And I think of the two, I think he's gonna warrant some looks because he plays on both ends of the floor. He is kind of that floor general. He comes in, he can command a locker room. He's important. At this stage for what the Blazers need, he's really important to them. Okay, and maybe they trade him by the deadline, and that would make sense. They absolutely would. And so we'll see where that goes. And I still think he can get them a young asset or the pick, and that's important to them. As for Grant, the thing with Jeremy Grant is interesting because he's playing really well right now, but he's been the guy before, and that didn't work. Look at what happened in Detroit. Like he's not the guy you want as your main horse. Right. And he's better suited as a third guy or a fourth guy. And I don't think he has a problem getting off that ball and not being the main focus of an offense. I don't think it bothered him at all playing on the floor with Ant and Dame and Nurk, where there was nights where Nurk was hot and Ant was hot and Dame was hot and he wasn't getting his touches. I don't think that bothers Jeremy Grant at all. And the reason I think that they're not intend on having to trade him right now is because I think that 5 years is going to turn some teams off, right? So you see out this year, and then you go into next year, you start to see where the things are building with this team if he does make sense, and then start to test those waters. But when you get to the point where he has 3 years left on that deal, then I think he becomes very, very tradable because teams look at that and go, okay, if I give up assets for this and this doesn't work, I can get off of this thing pretty quickly. But if you have to give up something for a guy who says, we'll have 4 years left on his deal, and then you look around, this isn't working, it's going to be hard to turn around and flip that knowing you just gave away assets. So those are the levels to it, to why I think that Jeremy Grant doesn't make a ton of sense to just flip right now. And then if you do flip him, shout out, I think Dan Meringue made this point, if you do want to flip him right now, then expect terrible assets in return. Like maybe you'll get some picks out of that, but you're not going to get a lot of young talent because young talent is going to have young talent contracts, right? And you can't just go flip him for a bunch of guys making $1 million because you have to hit under that new CBA. You have to spend 90% of the salary. So you have to have those $25 and $30 million contracts on your books. So if you do trade him, expect to go get guys that are, my second point guard or my backup power forward who's making $15 million. Why? because you need to fill it up. You need to fill it up. So though I'd rather pay the money to the guy that's getting me points and playing well right now. And this whole mentor thing, like I don't think Jeremy Grant is the type that needs to be a mentor. I've said this before, Tim. I think the idea that, the old vet is a great mentor is completely overblown. I think Malcolm Brogdon is different, though, because Malcolm Brogdon fits that. Malcolm Brogdon is that. And there's not a lot of players that are that, because a lot of players at that old age that can still ball want to ball. They don't want to mentor. They want to get the most out of the end of their run, right? Like, do you see Russ going into mentor mode? No. Brogdon, on the other hand, he understands there's some value in that he can do what he does and do that at the same time. It doesn't take away from anything. He's a unique player. I said he's like an Ed Davis. That's where I stand on that. If you think Jeremy Grant should be traded tomorrow, you're not wrong. That's fair, too, because I don't know if there's an answer. I think this is something that we're all just kind of testing the water on and feeling out and figuring out where we go. But, Tim, as always, thank you so much for the call. Hope that answered your question. I was kind of long-winded. I don't know, but I hope I gave you some clarity there. All right, let's go out to McMinnville. One more caller here. Miguel, he says, Blazers, no good record. That's good. Miguel, floor's yours.
Hey, I was just calling in. There's a lot, going on. The Blazers weren't supposed to have the best record, obviously, for obvious reasons. But I was pretty optimistic going into the year, not as far as a winning season, but in the things we could take away, silver linings, right? After seeing the first couple of games, I thought, wow, this team has potential to be a good defensive team, to start to be that this year, to potentially be that in 2 to 3 years. And tonight was another one of those nights that proved to be that. And to piggyback off of those trade deals, great things could come if Jeremy keeps that form for another year or two, and then we can get some things back in return that could go with our young core of Sharp, Simons, and and Scoot or Tumani, who I think is personally the steal. But I think this Blazer team, despite their poor record, I think that they are not a layover win for any team this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for the call, Miguel. And yeah, that's why I think waiting on Grant makes sense. Because what if, like you just said, this young team starts to click, and then you're like, you know what? Grant makes a lot of sense to keep here. Or they start to click, and you go, you know what? He's still played well, and there's some other teams that want him, and he might be able to get us the missing piece that we really need. There's options there, Miguel, and I absolutely like that. So that's why I wouldn't trade him just yet. I'd let this one play out with him. Brogdon, you could afford to let go at the deadline. Grant, I would let this play out because I don't think it's clear what his future truly is yet, if it's with Portland or not. And I'd like it with it because I really like Jeremy Grant. And I'm selfish. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Miguel.